Hey, what's up? It's your girl Ree, and welcome to the Great Exposure.
We have Clark Kent the Jen in the building.
That's right.
And I'm Dillard, comedian extraordinaire.
Man, very funny man. Today we got a show in for you guys today, man. We got a lot of people here, but right now we messing with the funny man right here. So y'all prepared to laugh a little bit, man. I got a little dirt on you. You know what I mean? I got a little something. I mean, it ain't necessarily dirt, but I got some things you got to make it. You know what I'm saying? Got some things you got to make it, but I ain't gonna spill that right now. You know what I mean? We gonna let you do it, man. So first, tell us, man, how long you been in it? You know, how long you been doing this? I know it's been a long time, but just let the people know exactly how long.
I've been doing comedy for 17 years, man. I started at Central Missouri State, which is UCM now. I was the college comedy champ. Every time I tell this story, it's like real crazy because people don't really understand how I got started in doing comedy. How I got started was my friend Ed and Eric, they're from St. Louis. When I went to college there, I used to always crack, just do silly stuff. And Eric and Ed was like, man, you need to be doing comedy now. Way off the cuff, I'm like, man, nah, I'm just talking. Right. You know, he's like, nah, you really need to do comedy. Long story short, Central Missouri State had a college comedy competition, and I said, I don't know how to write jokes just to be talking, yeah. Right. And Eric said, well, don't worry about it. I'll help you. Long story short. Right.
Hey, look. Long story short. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, look, yeah. He wrote me some jokes. I wound up winning. Okay. I go to Chicago. I win there, cool. And then I went to Florida. Okay. Next year, come back, win again. One of my professors come to me and say, you need to go ahead and change your major. Instead of being a comic that's trying to be a comedian, you'll be an actor that's trying to be a comedian. You'll
be a comedian that want to be a comedian actor.
Right.
Be a comedian, do what you're naturally in first, and then let that lead to the other things though. So that's, first of all, I wanted to point out on that, we definitely, comedians, you know what I mean? You see where he was at. You see he went to college, so we ain't dealing with no ignorant people just because you're funny and all that. Hey, it's serious, man. Like I said, you know, this is definitely not just for play, you know what I mean? Even though I'm pretty sure, you know, what about like far as you growing up? Like, have you always been like the funny man in the family? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, and that's weird that you mentioned that because like my mom is, she was a very, very funny woman. Very funny woman. My whole family is like jokesters. I mean, and if you would ever go over in Kansas and ask anybody, do they know the Dillards? That first thing we say, boy, that is the silly bunch of Negroes.
Right. So this is hereditary. So like they say, this is not on you, this is in you. Right. You know what I mean? So most definitely.
And my dad was funny. My grandmother was funny. My mom was like freaking hilarious. People used to just come sit on our porch just to hear her talk. Right. And I still to this day when I do some of my material, I can call my brother Sam or my sister Brenda, and they would just tell me about something that happened, and then I'll be like, well, that'd be a good joke. And I'll just groom it and work on it, and usually turn it into a good joke.
Man, that's a dope thing, man. That's good, man. Like I said earlier, man, I know that, like I said, I heard you got some things going on and things like that, man. So if you kind of just want to, not give us too much. Matter of fact, give us a little history of what you've done already, like some of the things that you've done. You know?
Well, I've been on BET Comedy View. I've been on Jay Leno.
That's huge. That's big.
I've been on the HBO Comedy Festival. I've been on Comedy Central. I've been on Stars.
Been on everything.
Right now, I'm just trying to, solidify myself amongst other comedians. Because, to me, there's a lot of guys out there that are cool, but they're successful. But my thing is, I haven't got the
recognition
that they got
the stage, and that's why it's important. And that's why we came up with the show. Well, actually, that's why Ree came up with the show, and and just basically to give somebody some, another little stepping stone. Like I said, it's not much, but it's a stepping stone. Right. You know what I mean? The great exposure. Let's get exposed.
But the big thing is, and a lot of younger people coming up need to know that, to be honest, all media to you is good media, whether it's bad or good. I hate to say that, because to be honest, I can always use Eminem. Eminem was a great rapper,
Yeah, very
beforehand.
talented guy.
But until he started beating his wife up, that's when people start to really solidifying him as
Stop the violence. Stop the violence. Stop the violence.
I mean,
very talented.
Right, because he had came out with that little Slim Shady thing. That's the very first song that I heard, and I was like, he's clever or whatever, but it didn't grab nobody,
right?
You know, or whatever. But you see, maybe a year later, he goes to jail for beating his baby mama Kim up.
Yeah,
right.
And from there on, he was just solidified as a gangster white dude.
Yeah, from that point on.
Right. So it goes back to saying all media is good media. You know what I'm saying?
And I definitely heard that, you know what I mean? That's why I said, so how do you feel about far as, you know, people who are not necessarily original with it? Like, you know, the originality aspect. What do you think about, you know what I mean? How do you stay original? How do you stay grounded and stay within yourself? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people you see, you know what I mean, they start out and they're themselves and they're real relatable, and then as the money come and as the fame come, you know, they kind of they change up and they change their routine. So how do you stay grounded knowing them things that you have lined up? You know what I mean? How do you stay grounded and stay cool?
That's a really good question, because to me there's several types of originality.
Right.
There, you know, you being original as a person. You being original as a comic.
Okay.
You being original as just an all-around individual.
Right.
Now, being original as a person, you know, to me, money's cool. I like to have money because I have kids, and I would like for them to have nice things.
Exactly.
You know, but it don't rule me.
Right.
You know, if I mean, even the moment I do get that kind of money, I'm going to live in a cool neighborhood, as long as it's not violent. You know, I'm a driver, average car. I don't need no $250,000 car to get me from A to B. I actually, you know, I want to stay grounded, help people.
Real humble guy.
You know, right, humble, right. Pull up people that I know I see struggling. That I know that all it took is for me to reach in and just say, "Come on, bro. Come on, girl. Let me pull you in."
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't mean to cut you out, but it's something that I definitely, you know, notice that you're saying that I definitely want to point out to you is that you telling, you know, you're saying the things that what you're gonna do when you have, like, you know that it's gonna come, and how important is that part of having, you know, that confidence in yourself to say, you know what, when this happened instead of if it happened or I hope it happened and things like that. You know.
Well, that's another good question, and I'd say that in the Bible you have to talk it into existence.
Right.
Definitely.
God always
speak
says,
to your mouth.
Right.
Speak to your mouth.
You have to talk it into existence, because God already knows what's gonna happen.
Right.
He's trying to see what you're gonna do. You know, and what you got exactly. So my mom always used to say when a lot of people don't know this about me. You know, I played semi-pro football for dang near 19 years.
Okay, so you multi-talented. So you got other things going on too.
I played basketball. I ran track college. I ran track for Nike for 8 years.
Right.
You know, so I mean, my mom used to always say, when you go into a race, you might be racing against the fastest person in the world, but in your mind, he's not that fast to you.
Right.
He's nothing but an average person.
And it makes all the difference.
Yeah. They might just be trained a little better than you. That's what's beating you. They're not beating you because they're faster than you. They're beating because they're trained better than you. Now, as far as when it comes to my comedy, I think, you know, it goes back to, like I said, the originality thing. When it comes to originality as far as comics concerned, I had somebody, and I'm damn sure going to address this, because this dude hits me on YouTube.
Well, expose it. Matter of fact, expose it. The great exposure. You doing stuff on YouTube, you doing stuff on Twitter, Facebook, you're getting exposed. You hear what I'm saying? Good or bad. All publicity is good publicity. Accept it. You know what I mean?
I had a dude on YouTube, man, about a month ago. He hit me up, and I did this show, the David Letterman Showcase, up in New York. And I got this joke. I've been doing this joke for like 10, 12 years or whatever. And it's jokes that I would say, but back in the days, and I'll be like, you know what, I'm not going to use it. I'll give it to some of the guys that you know now. I done gave them jokes and say, man, here, you can have that joke. And we'll sit down and we'll be talking, and I'll crack the joke, or they'll crack a joke. They'll tell me, hey, man, you can have that joke. Or, you know, so if the joke was basically, how many people know somebody live in a nasty house? And then you get a lot of people. You get a lot of people raise their hand or whatever. And then the butt of the joke is, I went into somebody's house so nasty I had to wipe my feet to leave.
Right, okay. I mean, you don't want to come in with the joke.
No, but so I mean, it's the base of the joke or whatever. This dude, I don't even know this dude. Dude ain't even got a picture on YouTube, no nothing. He is on you. Oh, you did such and such joke. Da 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 da. So I hits him back and say, "You dumbass dude. Why don't you text? I left dude's Twitter and his Facebook page. Won't you hit him and ask him who gave him the joke?
Whoa.
And then we can talk." He hits me back. Now, this was a month ago. Now, he just hits me back a week ago.
Right.
And gonna say some bull crap like, what I do, I've been studying comedians for years, and he didn't do this joke he did this joke in 97, not in 2002. I said, and I just basically text him back, dude, it takes a real asshole to sit on YouTube and go through everybody's material just so you can
just to criticize,
just
to criticize, man, and people do that all the time, and they need to be exposed.
It ain't just comedy that they do that,
right?
Right.
So then he basically trying to criticize me, and I just told him, look, dude, all you gotta do is Google my name. Right. I mean, and you will see what I've done so far.
Exactly.
And we're not including what's coming up in the near future and what God has planned.
We're gonna get right on that.
Right.
Especially the king of the
road.
Right. One more question before we get into the stuff that you have in the future, because we know you're on a short time schedule. We appreciate you coming. Right. Yeah. The way you brought up the spirituality, you know what I mean, and I think that's really important for us on my part. But a lot of times people are scared to go about that, you know what I mean, and even to pronounce and say, what God says and God says in His Word and things like that. Right. So as a comic, how do you kind of balance that out? Because a lot of times, the jokes are dirty sometimes. You know what I mean, dirty. Right. It is a little more. So what do you? How do you balance your spirituality with your comedy and kind of make sure you don't go overboard, you know what I mean, and still stay spiritually grounded to let people know that God is in you. You feel me? Still, how do you do that? Do you make jokes far as like would you throw it in there and basically ask for forgiveness on stage like in a comic way, but at the same time in a sincere way? You know what I mean? Like God forgive me on that. Like, you know what I mean? Because I see a lot of people doing that, but I see a lot of people who claim to be one way, but at the same time, I'm not saying they're not, but still sometimes you got to show that. I mean, if that's what you want to stand for, like I said, you got to choose up. Shout out to the choose up gang, but you got to choose up. You know.